All signs point to Maxk Domi re-signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs after his postseason press conference yesterday. A lot of fans are speculating that we will see Maxk Domi re-sign this offseason, and I'm going to break it down for you coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, gotta say that 87% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you enjoy the NHL, you enjoy the Leafs, and you want to get kept up to date on everything that's happening around the league, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button, because we'll be here every day talking about the NHL, talking about the Leafs. So if you don't want to miss out on that, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But before we get into the Maxk Domi stuff, we got to talk about the draft lottery odds. And yes, the draft lottery is on tonight. And I know a lot of you Leafs fans probably aren't going to be watching it because you don't have high draft odds, but there are going to be a lot of fan bases watching this tonight, myself included as a Montreal Canadiens fan, and we're just going to bring up the odds for the draft lottery tonight. And as we see here, the San Jose Sharks have the highest odds with 18.5% to get the number one pick. Then Chicago has 13.5 to get the first round pick. Anaheim has 11.5, Columbus has 9.5, and then Montreal has 8.5, and Utah has 7.5, and you can read, the list goes on and on there. But obviously it's seeming like the San Jose Sharks are going to be locked in here at number one for Macklin Cellebrini, which is going to be a huge boost for that franchise. I mean, this kid is going to be something special. We've seen him in the World Juniors. We've seen him, do his thing in the juniors this season, and it just seems like he's going to be a great NHL player. Not as much hype around him as there was Connor Bedard last year at the draft lottery, but don't get it twisted. This kid is going to be a great NHL player, and the hunt for Macklin Cellebrini starts tonight. Also, another thing I want to note about these odds is that Chicago has the second best odds to get the first overall pick. So can you imagine Macklin Cellebrini and Connor Bedard linking up in Chicago? I mean, what kind of a future do you have there? I mean, that is just spectacular. That is phenomenal if they can manage to squeeze out another first in the draft lottery tonight. But whoever gets the first overall pick is going to get a great kid here in Macklin Cellebrini. I mean, this guy is going to be one of the future stars in the NHL, in my opinion. So whoever gets him, it's going to be great to see. And the draft lottery is always a fun one to tune into every year, because you get to see which prospects may be going where with all the mock drafts and stuff. There's so many young, great prospects this year coming up in the juniors, in college, and it's going to be fun to see where they land at the draft. But tonight, we get to solidify the draft positions, which everybody is really excited about. And, Montreal has an outside shot at it. Do I think they're going to get it? Probably not. Will they move up from the fifth? Maybe. I'd be really excited if they do. But it is looking like the San Jose Sharks are going to get this first pick. But if somehow the Chicago Blackhawks manage to get back-to-back first overall picks, I mean, this would just be incredible for this franchise. But thought I'd keep you guys updated on the lottery, because it's starting tonight. It's going to be a fun one to watch and see where all these young up-and-coming stars end up at the draft coming later this summer. But we're going to get into why everybody clicked on this video today, and that is Maxk Domi re-signing with the Leafs. And yes, yesterday Maxk Domi faced the media in his postseason press conference, where he talked about this season and talked about, his time with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And if we get in to the first quote, he said, they asked him, would he be open to re-signing in Toronto? And he said, "Do I want to come back? Absolutely." He said, "I think this team has everything it takes to do something special, and I would love to help them out." And a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs fans will be really excited to hear this, because Maxk Domi was one of their best playoff players this year and really started to pick it up towards the end of the season for this club. He was a guy who played up and down this lineup. He played multiple positions. He played the wing. He played center. He actually excelled at center in the playoffs, so maybe they bring him back to play maybe a third-line center. We did see him play with Matthews when Marner was out with injury, or play with Marner when Matthews was out with injury. Sorry, I got that one twisted up. But It just shows how good this guy is. He can step up, play with the top stars, and just execute that way as well. So I think it is a smart deal for Brad Treliving to bring this guy back once free agency opens, because I think Maxk Domi is a great player, and not just a great player on the ice. He is the heart and soul of your organization. I've said this many times as a Montreal fan. I know Maxk Domi. This guy's going to go out there with his heart on his sleeve every night, battling for your team. So I think bringing him back is a really great option for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But he also did say playing in Toronto was a goal of mine and something that I enjoyed every second of it and didn't take it for granted. That's for sure. It's something I've dreamed of my whole life. There's nothing like playing in the NHL other than playing for the Maple Leafs. You can't beat it, especially growing up in Toronto. And obviously, we all know Max Domi's dad, Ty Domi, who was a Leafs legend, now seeing his son, Maxk Domi, kind of take his path to come play with the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. It's something that Maxk Domi always wanted, a local guy growing up in Toronto. I think it's great to see him just love to play in this city, especially after all they've been through this postseason. And I really hope that he can come back here and just prove to the Leafs fans that, he's still got it. He can be that guy for this team. I mean, like I said, he excelled in the playoffs. He's just been a great all-around player this year for this team. And we've just seen him pick up his game ever since he laced up the skates for the first time with the Maple Leafs. So I expect, at 29 years old, we could see this guy maybe sign for maybe a 3-year extension. And I think that would be fun, because this would be right in the window of when the Leafs should win a Stanley Cup. So you have him there. This guy was one of your better playoff players this year, so I don't see why you wouldn't bring him back, only if the negotiations are like a little too much money and stuff like that, because the Leafs have only $19 million to work with. I mean, saying only $19 million, I mean, that is a lot of money, but you want to bring in other guys as well, or guys on better deals, but we don't know any numbers right now. But I do expect that Maxk Domi will get re-signed here. And he also goes on to say here, this is from Sportsnet. They say, Domi brings a tenacious presence with skillful playmaking abilities as a reliable faceoff man. As an unrestricted free agent, Domi can bring these talents wherever he pleases when July 1st comes around. Only will time tell, but Domi seems to believe that there's unfinished business in Toronto. And he said, the only thing we're all concerned about is winning. He said, I know I keep talking about it, but that's really all we care about in this locker room, is just finding a way to win. And yeah, I definitely agree with them. There's a lot of these guys who come to Toronto who have grew up in the area or stuff, like especially Domi, watching his dad play for this Toronto Maple Leafs team. There's always unfinished business in Toronto when you don't win a Stanley Cup. Everybody wants to see them go far in the playoffs and bring the cup home to Toronto. It hasn't been done since '67. So every player that comes around that's from the Ontario area wants to bring this cup to Toronto. And in Max's case, he wants to do this for his dad. I mean, his dad never got to hoist the Stanley Cup with the Toronto Maple Leafs, so maybe he wants to do that and just make his dad proud by bringing a cup back to Toronto. And I don't think there's a world where Maxk Domi leaves Toronto with saying these comments, saying, there's unfinished business, saying how much he loved playing for the Leafs. I think that we will see Maxk Domi re-sign this offseason, and I think Toronto Maple Leafs fans should get excited, because as we look at his stats this season, I mean, Maxk Domi played pretty solid hockey for this club. I mean, 47 points in 80 games, 38 assists, 9 goals, and also in the playoffs in 7 games, putting up 4 points and being very dominant on the faceoff dot. And just a year previous in Dallas, he put up 13 points in 19 playoff games, so it just shows how clutch of a playoff guy this guy is. And at 29 years old, I think he has a really, really bright future ahead, and I'm really excited to see him continue to play here in Toronto, because like we've seen here, like 47 points, 38 assists. I mean, obviously, Maxk Domi is a great playoff guy for this club, and a great regular season guy as well, a great playmaker. His passing ability has been phenomenal. I mean, just watching him in the playoffs, we've seen him look for the pass more than look for the shot, which is great when you're playing with top goal scorers. And I think that if he comes back, he will be on a line with a top goal scorer, and he'll really benefit from that. And I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs are definitely looking at this as an option because they know how much he loves the team. With him saying these comments, saying there's unfinished business, this is a guy who's just going to fight for your team every night. I think that he will be back in Toronto. What do you guys think? Let us know down below in the comment section. What do you think about bringing Maxk Domi back? Would you love to have him back, or do you think he should move on? Let us know down below in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. But we're going to get everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Daniel, our boy Daniel, day one supporter here on the channel. Appreciate seeing your comments all the time down there, Daniel. And today he says, well, this is a first, all three boys at once. Nice. And yes, the other day we did more of a podcast style video, I guess you could say, with me and the two Marks popping on for one video. It's really fun. We're hoping to get a lot more of those videos out to you guys because we love hopping on, all three of us, and just, you know, talking about hockey and talking about the Leafs and talking about everything that's going around the league. So if you guys want to see more of those videos where it's three of us kind of like, you know, in a podcast style format, let us know down below because we love doing those type of videos for you guys. And if you enjoyed this one, make sure down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,500 subscribers. So if you enjoy the NHL, you enjoy the Leafs, and you want to keep updated on everything that's happening around this postseason and into the offseason, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out a video we did yesterday talking about the Leafs, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. We'll catch you in the next one.